Hey, welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage. I figured before I clean up this shop and get back to important things that I probably better run over something because it'll add a little context to this. So, as you know, massive failure right there. I'm not 100% sure why I was going to tear it down, but then I realized I have to keep up with all that stuff separately, so I stuck the pan back on it, and we're going to put it in the Connex and try to forget about it for a little while. So, as you know, we have nothing. No motor. No fun. No fun was had. It sounded good, sounded fun, but that's it. So I went back kind of figuring out what to do. What's my, I was hoping I could fix this thing cheap. Not going to happen. I had a taste of driving this truck. I'm like, I want to drive this thing. I want a square body again. I want a Dahlia square body. Or I want a beater square body again. So I was kind of weighing my options. Charlie's got a TBI 350. I've got a couple 454s that I could probably give a shot to. We could stole the motor out of the Impala. Or I've been sitting on something for about 7 years. I bought this thing to part out. It's been on the channel twice. It's blown 4 rear tires. Done countless donuts, snow banks when we do have snow, which is rare. Ditch lines and hauled scrap and everything else. And like I said, I bought it to part it out, and didn't have the heart to it. The truck kind of grew on me. What I finally decided to do is this truck I've called Dirty Andy. And if you've ever watched Terry Porter, the show Terry Porter, you'll understand Dirty Andy. Because this truck on the inside was probably the nastiest thing I've ever tried to drive. As a matter of fact, it still has trash under the seat from when I bought it 7 years ago. So Dirty Andy is a 2004 2500 HD GMC. And this is proof that you can do a LS swap on the cheap if you go about it certain ways. So, although now this truck would probably be worth double what I paid for it. So originally I paid $1,000 for it. Okay, so originally it was posted for $1,000 slipping transmission. So I go to look at the truck, got him down to 900. He just had put a hitch in the bed of this thing to pull a gooseneck trailer or something a month before that. So it had a new hitch in it. Ended up selling his hitch back to him for $100. So there I was with $800 in it. Now, I didn't have $800 out of my pocket because I was parting trucks out at the time, so I had zero money in it. I bought it out of profit. But we'll just say $800. All right, the truck's rusty as all get out. I actually did this dent in the door, that stump up there. The bed's beat up, but the rust is, well, the truck's from Massachusetts, and it's got that floorboard delete. It's actually gotten to the point now to where when I was driving it, I was noticing that the door didn't want to shut right anymore, and it actually hits the cab up there because it's missing one entire body mount on that side, and if you get it in ditch or whatever, you can actually feel the cab flex. So, and then I've noticed that critters have been chewing on the wires, so I don't know what that does, but I never noticed something not working. But anyway, so slipping transmission, it's a 4L80E, which I adjusted on it in HP tuners, turned the shift pressures up and cut the shift points down and just let it shift on its own, and it did fine for years. It would get hot kind of quick, so I mean it needs rebuilt, but it survived. Like I said, $1,000. You could, like, it's got one good door, it's got a 14-bolt rear end, disc brakes. You could park the truck out, and as a matter of fact, like I said, $1,000. And then back then, converters were selling really well, and this thing had the good converters on it, and I sold the converters off this truck for $500. So here I was with no money in a truck, and I'd already made $500 back off of it, and I had a complete truck. So that's when I was like, well, now's the time. I wasn't driving it anymore. The hub bearing on the passenger side is so shot to the point where it wanders in the road, and I'm not putting that kind of money in this truck to put a hub bearing in it because I didn't have a parts truck to steal from, or I probably would have fixed it. So that's where we're at. I decided to go with the 6 liter. So I've got it cleaned up, and this is kind of like the marketplace special because I also saved some money this way. These are brand new Jegs headers. They're 300 bucks from Jegs. I got them for $200. This is a swap harness from Painless. It's a $500 harness. Got it for $250. I've not went back and picked them up yet because I didn't have to buy these, but just because I wanted them, I used them. Just because I wanted them, I bought them. The same guy I got the headers from had ICT billet compressor mount, power steering, and alternator mounts, and I got both of those for $300, and I believe that's about $125 savings there. So if you needed them, if I actually needed them, then it would have been a savings. I got Dirty Dingo mounts off Facebook Marketplace, shipped for $65. That saved me about 50 bucks. And they were the powder coated ones, the exact ones that I wanted. And they're slider mounts, so you can slide the motor all over the place. That's what I used in the dually, which here I am swapping this, and that truck's still not done. So I've saved some money. So, because technically, let's just say I had $800 in it. I sold those catalytic converters for $5. I'm in this swap for 300 bucks. And if I wanted to, I could sell the 80E over there for $350 to $400 as a good core, because I'm leaving the Turbo 400 in the truck. So that would leave me with a free 60 or a free 6-liter, and just what I've spent on mounts, a harness, headers, and really I did not need the brackets, but I got sick of cleaning brackets up, so I went that route. Splurged a little. Since this is a 6-liter and a 6-liter that came from in front of a 80E, you do not need to do anything to the flex plate, especially if you're using a big torque converter. So I had the stock converter that came with my Turbo 400. So I'm pulling out the 3000 converter. I'm going to put that in, and everybody says it should bolt right up because the spacing is right. Just have to worry about the bolt pattern. So saved a little money. I don't know when exactly this is going to take place because this pink truck is way more important than the orange truck. I just wanted to give a little context before I push the red truck back out into the field. And honestly, I don't have the heart to scrap it, so I believe the red truck's just going to be here with me till the end. That also brings me with, I finally figured out a name for this raggedy old C10. I was going to call it the Mule, but I don't really like that. This truck's called Dirty Andy. The owner of this truck was named Bob, so now we have Dirty Bob. So Dirty Bob will be the C10. When will I get back on Dirty Bob? No idea, but I hope soon. But like I said, pink truck more important. I'm going to keep rounding up some things for this. Only downfall, this harness wasn't loomed, but I kind of actually like that because I can lay it out where I want it. Now I was going to use the old Chinese harness here, but I'll be honest with you, I'm a little scared of that thing. So here we are. This harness, I believe it is long enough to where I think I'm gonna put the computer in the truck. And then it's even got a little check engine light and all that junk you can put wherever. I had those coils and wires from another vehicle, so those wires are pretty new. We'll just reuse them. This intake's so clean because it came off my 05 GMC or Silverado. The old intake was filthy. This one was in the Connex, super clean, so we'll use it. Hopefully I can get back to it soon, and we can get to driving that thing. So until then, I gotta get on Pinky. All right, I've decided that I will only work on my garbage on Sundays. That way the important things and other things can get done during the week. So it's Sunday. It is probably the most miserable day I've seen in a while. It's cold and windy and overcast. It's a perfect day to be down here under this carport. What I'm going to do is I covered the motor. I'm going to pull it off this engine stand. I had my 3-piece Denali Cadillac Escalade covers on there, but the alternator is in a slight different spot, so the cover didn't cover it because the factory one's in this region here, and that secondary one covered the alternator, but it doesn't work, so I'll just go back to the regular old single Vortec one. Finally broke down, and these are factory deals that are on the back of the cylinder heads, so when they do crash these trucks, it kind of slows down the fact that the firewall might knock the fuel rail off of this thing. So I've been meaning to drill these. I've been saving them. I've been meaning to drill them so that way I can hang a chain on them and have a better place to pick these motors up with, instead of just one single bolt hole or whatever. It never really worked out right. So this one kind of, and I'll pull the intake as well. So the intake's just basically sitting on there anyway. So we'll pull the intake, tape the heads up. Got to pull these headers off. First thing I'm gonna check is make sure that big fat torque converter there fits this flex plate, because if it doesn't, well, we're stuck. We'll have to get a flex plate. But it does have the correct spacing. There is a big spacer back there on the back side. You can see it down in there. So the spacing is correct. I do not need the additional little spacer. I just need to make sure the bolt pattern is correct. The factory 80E converter is 6 bolts. This the guy is 3, so fingers crossed. So I'm gonna stick you on the tripod, and we'll get this motor pulled off, and fingers crossed the converter fits. Alrighty, we're dead in the water. So this does not fit. As you can see, it's off that much. Some people say you can egg those out. Not I. I will buy the right flex plate. Hang on, let me put this thing down before I drop it. Yeah, I'm not wallering those out or anything. I'd rather buy the right flex plate. So that being said, womp womp womp. I guess I'll get to shopping. This motor's not going in today. I guess I probably could have took the time this week and found that out before now, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. So the saga continues. So we'll see you when I see you and I figure out what flex plate.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Back on this thing Sunday. I'm still sticking true to my plan here. My junk is only worked on Sundays. So I got the flex plate and the crank spacer in. This is all from Speedway. If you need a part number, let me get you that. Right there. That has Turbo 400 and Turbo 350 converter patterns. If you need a part number for this crank spacer, it's right here. I'll just reuse my flex plate bolts. Ain't no big deal. We're gonna pull this thing off the engine stand. Gotta get that thing out, get it hung in the air. Not gonna put motor mounts on yet because I want to drop it down in the hole first, and then we'll get it to the transmission, get that snugged up, and then we'll lower it all down. Or then I'll put the mount sliders on, and then we'll be done with that part. But I got a little later start today because I didn't get my this week's video edited until just a little bit ago. It's 8:30 now, so it's not too late. I'm about 2 hours behind though. Yeah, let me get this thing hung, and we'll see if we can't swing it in. And well, we got to get this flex plate on first. We'll do that first. We'll get it hung, flex plate, spacer, and swap that converter out, because the converter that's still in the trans is that little 10-inch converter. And I don't believe that would work too well with the stock motor. It might build a little heat. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna buzz this flex plate off here. We'll clean those up. Put a little blue Loctite on them. Anybody need a dropped flex plate? So that's your factory 6-liter with the 80E. It comes already spaced, so, but that'll only work with the 80E flex plate or Turbo 400 flex plate. You could probably drill them. It says you can slot the holes. I just don't feel like that's a good idea, so we're not doing that. Now would be a good time to do a rear cover or something like that, if that was what your plan was, like a rear main seal. But I'm not doing that either because it's currently not leaking. Remind me of that when I complain about having to do the rear cover and seal and all that stuff. But till then, just act like it never happened. Clean these bolts out, or clean these threads out good. That way you can put some Loctite in there. Guess I could have cleaned those bolts off at the same time, but all right. And that thing will slide in the crank as like that. Guess what? Those are too long. We may be in trouble. Unless I have some 60E flex plate bolts around here. Let me go look. All right, we were real close to, well, we'll see you next Sunday. I found some, thank goodness. O'Reilly's, I did look just in case. I looked after I found these, but I was wondering as I was looking. O'Reilly's did have them in stock, 18 bucks. It's a Dorman part number. I can't remember the part number, but I will post it up here. So if you did run into this situation and you were like me and decided that you didn't need the flex plate and crank spacer kit because you didn't want to spend the money on the bolts, then you'll be going to O'Reilly's or somehow, some way finding some more. So I did a good job of not putting Loctite on those. Back to where we started, unless I run into some other screw up. I'm aware there's a torque on that. I'm also aware that they're torqued. All right. That guy goes right in there. Let me check the converter snout. It fits. It's a little more loose than I would think that it would be, but it's there. So next up, I guess I'll clean off this radiator support and we'll jack that transmission up just a little bit more, get it up high, and we'll try to swing it in there. That gets everybody. Should have shortened that chain up a little bit. Or maybe I shouldn't put the truck 12 feet in the air. All right, let me move some of this wiring. All right, I'm gonna go up with it. That way I know I got room to get these motor mounts in. I know it's a little close back here on the firewall, so it'll be all right there. I sure hope these motor mounts got enough slide in them. I'm gonna dig these motor mounts out, put this camera on charge just for a few minutes, and we'll see where I'm at as far as if the motor and transmission is gonna be able to stay where it's at. Just from looking at it, it doesn't look good, but fingers crossed. So be right back. All right, I guess it's just how I was looking at it. Thankfully I was wrong. Well, they worked out. Probably can't really see in there, but they worked out, dropped right in. Those are Dirty Dingo mounts. Same way with this side. Plenty of room, easy to get to. I'll tighten up the block side bolts, and we'll leave the motor mount bolts a little loose for maybe some side-to-side movement if I have to fuss with the headers, which I believe I'm gonna put those on now and just see what kind of clearance I got. So let me snug these up, and we'll drop these headers in, see how good Jeg's headers fit. All right, I got the driver's side header on. I figured I would show you. I mean, this is probably common knowledge, but sometimes fumbling with headers and trying to put bolts in and hold gaskets where they're supposed to be will make you see kind of cross-eyed. So I typically use manifold gaskets on stock port stuff. This is a manifold gasket. I will not use header gaskets, but I got to modify these to make my life easier to put gaskets in. So I don't necessarily know if there's anywhere to stick you, but we'll stick you to the dust collected 55 here. Now you better make sure you do these correctly, because this is manifold side and down, so notch accordingly. So I just notch them, that way I can just drop the gasket in, and I'll have the two outermost bolts in the header just hanging it nice and loose. And then once it's hanging, I don't have to worry about holding header bolts and all that. Just drop these things right in. So I'm gonna, I've not test fit this header, but let me show you the driver's side. It seems to be okay. It cleared the shift linkage and all that down there. May or may not be able to see that. So, but cleared the frame rail nicely. Seems like it's going to be good. I don't know as far as ground clearance.
Oh, it's nice and snug. What that probably means is my simple, easy exhaust that I had on the big block won't work with that. It's a give and take, I guess. So let me grab the other header, and more than likely, I'll try to go from the top just to see, but more than likely, it'll have to come in from the bottom. All right, I can already tell you that we're gonna have to cut the transmission because there's an ear there that sometimes gets in the way, and it is without a doubt in the way. So that ear hanging off right here, I had to do it. Actually, I had to do it on the 80E up there on the set of headers that's on the dually. So we're going to cut that ear off and then try it again. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm just going to try to cut that as straight as possible and not get aluminum in my face. Let's see if it's enough. Yep, that'll work. So if I was prepared, I'd have bolts here. Might have to go from the bottom down there to get that back bolt in. Alright, well, I'm hitting the floor. Well, that ain't good. I don't even know if I can get the bolt in. And the floor clearance issue could very well be bad cab bushings. So trying to work around it. I don't know if it'll work or not. And I believe I got it started. All right, we for sure got it started. I'll take drop the back one in, and then drop right in. Now you don't have to worry about fooling with everything or trying to hold everything. Well, for some reason, that one won't go through the bolt hole. What's the deal with that? Well, it's got a little weld booger in the way there. All right, I got it in there. Ended up sneaking a drill in there. Drill, I don't know what size. Can't remember, honestly. But it got in there and broke that little booger out of there. right. I wonder if it's going to hit the floor once I get it snug. Like I said, it needs cab bushing, so that could make all the difference. Alrighty, so it's clearing the frame. I can't tell if it's hitting the floor or not. It might be some. Probably more than likely is, more than I can tell. But that's just how it's gonna have to be. So while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some spark plugs in this thing. Need to put that adapter back in, and probably need to put some bell housing bolts in it before the intake goes on it. And dipsticks. I got my dipstick right here. Need to install that guy. I'm gonna clean this off and put a little silicone on that, stick it back in the block. I've got it taped up, so I need to go down there and pull that tape off. So let me put plugs in it, dipstick, sensor, and I'll get back to you. All right, closing this video out 2 days later. I might have got a little more done than I said I was going to get done Sunday, but had company, and we just kind of sat around and talked, and I just kept on wrenching. So I'm at where I'm at. Here's where we're at. So got the upper hose in, I got the little doodad in for the steam port. I don't even know where that came from because I've never bought one of those, but I had one. Alternator is not bolted on. All this bracketry is there. Got the power steering pump installed. I need to pull the pulley back out some. I pushed it till it stopped and I went too far. I got the AC compressor bracket on. I do not have the AC compressor yet. Lower hoses on. Coils, headers. Got the back plug is a pain in the butt with these headers and that big giant coolant temp sensor adapter back there, but not really something I should have to change a whole lot on this thing because it's just bone stock. That's where we're at. I was going to use the pre-owned plug wires, but I figured, hey, new plugs, new wires, new everything, you know, as far as like basic tune-up stuff, why not? The intake's still not bolted on because I'm waiting to do the most of the harness before I put the intake on. That way I can get back in there to get that plug, or maybe some of this stuff I'm gonna run under the intake manifold, or some of the wiring I may run under the intake manifold just to kind of tidy it up and keep it hid. And then I got to figure out where I'm going to knock a hole in the firewall, because I plan on putting the computer in the truck on this one. So I guess that'll do it. We'll see you next Sunday back on this thing. About to jump right back over on the old pink truck here, and I believe tonight I'm plumbing fuel lines. Pretty sure that's what I told myself we were doing. So all right, thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. We'll see you on the next one.